This is your 420 Radio News for Friday, October 18th, 2013. I'm Russ Belville. Nearly two-thirds of Californians support legalization, from hightimes.com. California Lieutenant Governor Gavin Newsom and the representatives of the American Civil Liberties Union announced on Thursday the results of a new poll which shows nearly 2 out of 3 likely 2016 California voters support the legalization of marijuana for adults. The pollsters from Tulchin Research called 1,200 voters by landline and mobile phone to measure their support for a legalization proposal that would maintain prohibition for minors, establish state-regulated stores, ensure DUI penalties, and raise $1 billion for the state. 65% of poll respondents supported such a proposal, with a plurality of 46% strongly supporting legalization. Less than a third, or 32%, opposed legalization, with 3% undecided. Newsom called the press conference to also announce the formation of a panel that will study various proposals for marijuana legalization with an eye toward the 2016 election. John Morgan coughs up serious cash for medical marijuana ballot measure, from the Orlando Sentinel. Orlando trial lawyer John Morgan said this summer he was prepared to spend a lot of money financing a ballot initiative to legalize medical marijuana use in Florida. The latest campaign finance records show Morgan and his high-profile law firm have contributed $400,000 to the People United for Medical Marijuana campaign. Nearly two-thirds of the total $644,000 the group has raised through September, with $250,000 of that coming in the last 3 months. Morgan said Friday that volunteers were collecting about 20,000 signatures a week, and he planned to return to using paid signature gatherers next week. The final budget could surpass $2 million. Morgan's group has also collected enough signatures officially, 105,000 of the required 683,000 to make the 2014 general election ballot, to trigger Supreme Court review and economic analysis of its financial impact to the state, which is underway. Committee drafting medical marijuana rules considers testing, from the Oregonian. The panel charged with crafting rules for Oregon State's medical marijuana retail industry continues to grapple with complex policy questions on security, whether municipalities can opt out of the dispensary law, and cannabis testing. The group, which met Friday for the second time, also discussed potential fees, which are supposed to cover the cost of enforcing program rules. Rob Bovet, the Lincoln County District Attorney, suggested dispensary operators pay an application fee of $1,000 and an annual licensing fee of $5,000. The committee on Friday did not settle on a final recommendation. The state expects to hire 4 full-time employees to oversee the dispensary program, which Bovet said is inadequate to monitor compliance. 20 states and Washington, D.C. allow marijuana for medicinal use, but Oregon is among only a handful that will require cannabis testing. Todd Delato, a committee member who also serves on the state's advisory committee on medical marijuana, told the group, quote, "To complicate things even further, there aren't any registered pesticides for cannabis at all in Oregon," end quote. Jerry Duval, medical marijuana patient, lacks adequate health care, from Huffington Post. The Michigan medical marijuana patient, whose imprisonment could ultimately cost federal taxpayers more than $1.2 million, is being denied adequate health care while he serves his sentence, his wife claims. Jerry Duval surrendered to federal authorities in June to serve out a 10-year sentence for marijuana distribution at the Federal Medical Center Devens Prison in Massachusetts. His wife, Tracy, said in an interview with Huffington Post that he has suffered 2 hemorrhages in his eye since then. Tracy said, quote, "It's actually the worst one he's ever had. If the situation doesn't get taken care of, he could lose his eye," end quote. Tracy and the advocacy group Americans for Safe Access are urging the Federal Bureau of Prisons to allow Duval to visit an outside doctor to treat his glaucoma and retinal problems. Doctor on the payroll, $3,200 per pound of marijuana involved in drug charges, feds allege, from Michigan Live. Grand Rapids, Michigan, leaders of an alleged marijuana trafficking ring boasted in wiretapped phone calls about having a, quote, doctor on the payroll, end quote, to certify customers as medical marijuana patients, a ruse they thought would protect them from authorities, federal prosecutors wrote in a criminal complaint. In court records unsealed on Thursday, authorities say they unraveled a complex multi-county marijuana operation that led to charges against 27 alleged suspects and the seizure of more than 500 plants and unspecified assets that investigators say were proceeds from illegal activity. This has been your 420 Radio News for Friday, October 18th, 2013. I'm Russ Belville. When we come back, we go behind the headlines to take a look at those California poll numbers on legalization and the membership of the panel that will be discussing legalization for 2016. You're listening to The Russ Belville Show on 420radio.org. We'll be right back. Hey, tokers and tokettes.